There it is. We came back.
How's it going?
How was
Thanks,
lunch?
man.
It was macaroni and cheese and a bun and some milk. So it was good.
Oh, that's not
It's just milk with
bad.
everything.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
Chocolate milk or regular
Oh,
milk?
just regular milk.
Oh,
Chocolate milk's, I guess that's like, I don't know.
special,
That's
special? It is a holiday today, you know that.
I know. But
Okay.
I think they had chocolate milk on Christmas. A little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they got milk with everything here, obviously, you know, the state. So,
Yeah.
ah,
A lot of dairy.
the dairy state.
yeah. So they got cheese with a lot of stuff too. So,
Macaroni and cheese.
yeah.
Well, we brought you some non-lactose Powerade if you'd like it.
Seriously?
Yeah, all yours.
Wow. Thank you. That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. So we don't want to take you, all day,
That's fine.
and we really do appreciate being able to sit down and talk with us. There's a few things we want to kind of clear up, wrap up, and then if you have any questions for us,
Okay.
that'd be fine too. Don't let me forget. Did you want to talk about Ronnie a little bit or no?
I talked to your dad. We were at lunch.
Oh, okay.
And a couple of things we talked about, your property and, waiting on the DA's office. But then the reason he called was Dave Cullen.
Dave Cullen? Okay.
Yeah, he's going to go pick up some of your personal items out of the house
Okay.
today. So,
Okay.
yeah, so I just want to let you know that.
Okay.
We didn't tell him anything about what we talked
No,
about.
he doesn't
Oh,
know.
okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know we're here.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
He just lives like around the corner from me, so
Right.
that'd be good.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of times when anybody goes over there, they usually call just so I can give everybody a heads up. That way, I won't have an issue with neighbors calling and saying, somebody's getting into the house.
Okay.
So that's how we do that.
Okay. Has anybody been like checking on the house, making sure like pipes haven't broken and all that kind of stuff?
Water's off.
Okay, good.
I do know that.
I was worried about like sprinkling and all that stuff. I usually blow them out and all that kind of stuff.
Right,
but I
right.
figured
Yeah,
I
the
don't know if
water.
anybody was actually going through it or watching it or anything.
The water's been off for a while. I do know that. The power's still on there. So.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, fortunately, unfortunately, I don't know how you want to look at it, but we need to get a tiny bit more into the weeds and into the mechanics of the time you showed up at the house when Officer Coonrod was there
Okay.
till the time when we were all done talking.
Okay.
So that includes at the house, that includes at the oil site, and everything.
Okay.
Now, part of the reason we need to get into that is I mentioned before how we're just really want to get into the mindset of what happened. And you can imagine this is really important for us in the future when we're talking to a guy that's in your position to say, this isn't really a monster. This is more like a Chris Watts. And boy, we remember with Chris, had we asked this or had we done this, we really could have been better. And so that's why we want to get into the mechanics of it a little bit more with you. And that's going to mean exactly how, exactly when, where were you, what was, Shanann wearing or all of that, right? So we really just need for you to take a deep breath and get into it with us. And would it be all right if we ask you some specific questions? Okay. So one of the first things we want to talk about was when you came home, so this is after they had passed, and you came home and met with Officer Coonrod. One of the first things we see on the video is you walking into the garage and then into the Shanann's car. Remember what that was about?
In your car?
Yeah, like I think you opened a door or something?
Yeah, you opened the passenger door, and it looks like you were looking for something, or maybe you picked something up. Do you recall what that was?
Not that I'm aware of. Not looking for anything, but maybe just opening the car door to see if see if there. Because I think Nikki was saying, I think I see the car seat still in there.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I was,
Okay.
when I opened up the door, I looked in just to, it's like the first reaction of whatever, everybody's just waiting, pretty much waiting to get in the house. Pretty much.
Right. Okay.
So I wasn't looking for anything as far as specific or anything, but I was just, I don't know, just reaction going in there, and I know everybody's there. I don't know what's going to happen when they get in
Sure.
the house.
Instead of nervousness, maybe?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was out of nervousness.
Sure, okay.
And then backing up a tiny bit, I jumped forward too far. So she comes home at 2 in the morning. She gets into bed. Was, when you guys had sex together, was that pretty quickly after she came home?
I think it was around like 2:30 because I felt like she'd be in bed for a little
A
while.
little bit? Okay.
Yeah.
And forgive me, it's not a pervy thing, but she woke you up?
Yeah, she was just. I could feel like a hand was on
Okay.
me, like rubbing my leg or my chest or something
Okay.
like that.
And then that was, signal it's go time type thing?
Pretty much. She
Okay.
was like, yeah.
Okay, I get it. And then that was maybe a half an hour after.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, is there any talking? Or was it just kind of a
And just like,
quiet in the middle of the night?
yeah. Just like I just felt her hand around me. I'm just like, what? And it was
Time to
like,
go.
yep.
Yeah, okay. That's funny. All right. Then a couple hours of sleep, alarm goes off.
Mhm.
Okay. I guess what I don't understand is, so then there was some talking, and then how did you get on top of her? How did that happen?
It's like when I got into bed, because she was laying, when she was sleeping, she was laying like face down, which she really never does.
Okay.
And I just got into bed and I kind of nudged her, and then she like kind of rolled over, and then I was just like right there on top of her.
Okay. And so that was after you'd gotten ready?
Mhm.
Okay, so you go down, you make your food.
Oh yeah, I got like cottage cheese and another couple things that I made for
Okay.
food that day.
Okay. And then, so this is, we talked a little bit earlier today about, there was all of these things playing in your mind where you just didn't even want to go another second without having this conversation or without some sort of completion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so you come back, she's asleep, and then you just kind of nudge her.
But yeah, I just kind of like, hey, look up for a second.
And was there nudge talk for 20 minutes, or was it just nudge and then all of a sudden you're on top of her?
No, she's pretty much on top.
Okay, so that happened pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's how we kind of pretty much talked.
Okay.
I was just right there.
And was there talking?
Yeah.
Okay. And so a nudge, a talk, she's laying down and you're standing up?
I crawled back. I got on my side of the bed,
Uh-huh.
and I just like nudged her like that.
Oh, okay. And then you're talking while you're on top of her?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. That seems confusing to me. Is that actually what happened? Okay. And so...
And she was fine, like just laying there, like you trying to talk to her while you're
So
on
I
top
think
of
she
her?
maybe I thought we were going to have sex again or something.
Oh, okay. Okay. And how long did you talk?
Like about 15, 20 minutes.
Really? In that position? Okay. And was there any sex?
No.
Okay.
Maybe I'm basically from the position that we're in. Maybe she thought maybe I'd try to go again. I don't know.
Okay. And I don't harp on it too much, but I'm just trying to think, if my wife's 4 months pregnant and it's 5 o'clock in the morning and I want to talk and I want to get on top of her, that's just not going to fly. So that's why I'm confused.
I know.
So, is that really what happened?
Yeah.
Okay. And then talk for about 15 minutes and then it's heated and then your hands are on her neck. Okay. All right.
What did the talk? What did the talk consist of?
Basically, just about how at first it was more of like the selling the house type of thing, or not going to Aspen, or trying to maybe go in at a different time, and then it just switched all to the I don't feel like I'm in love with you anymore, not compatible. And went to that, and that's when I got to the heated part of it
Okay.
Did she ever say at some point, get off me or anything like that?
at the end.
Yeah.
That's what she said. I don't want you to feel like, because where I was, it was kind of like she didn't want me to sit down or like hurt the baby or anything like that. It was just kind of
Did she accuse you of cheating at that point?
like,
So what'd she say?
she's like, I knew there was somebody else. I knew there was somebody else. And I didn't come out and just say, that there is somebody else, but she obviously already knew.
And your response to that was what? Did she say no, there's not? Did you deny it?
I believe I just denied it, but at that point, because when she would accuse me at the beach, it was a lot of like, there's nobody else, there's nobody else, or like, and when we got back home, she always like said there's got to be somebody else, because she'd always talk to her friends like Christina or somebody on text messaging, and they'd always say there's got to be somebody else. If he's not wanting to sleep with you, like he's getting it from somewhere else, and there's nowhere else. I mean, she couldn't really say I was getting anywhere else because I was using those Antarctica gift cards, so it's kind of like, she just me getting distant, but she knew, and that's mainly the reason why I talked to her, because I knew, like, after that night, it was just like, it felt like I just felt guilty, more guilty than ever before.
Yeah. And then it seems to me, and sorry, I have a lot of thoughts here. So we know what happened, and we can talk about it today kind of openly, and that's what we need from you, is to just kind of say, I know it sounds bad, or I know this, or I know I feel this way, but physically this is exactly what happened. So if you could tell us that, it seems then that it would have had to been a pretty quick transition from two people talking to this,
Yeah.
right? Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was like, I don't want to, like, trying to think of the last things we were talking about, but it was, I don't feel like I love you anymore, and then she was like, you're never going to see the kiss.
Oh,
That was it.
that's perfect, Chris. That's exactly what we need. Okay. And I know it's hard to walk through that again, but that's exactly what we need. So then, as soon as she started talking like that, then it was on. Okay.
But it was you saying that you didn't love her, is that right? Okay.
And her saying, you're never going to see the kids.
Yeah.
Okay. I can imagine how that made you feel. I'm sorry.
It did more than what it did.
Yeah. And then the fact that she didn't scratch at you or anything, is that just because it was so powerful?
I don't think it didn't feel like, I've never done that before, put my hands around anybody before, so I don't even know what kind of force I was putting on her neck.
Okay.
Like I said, 2 to 4 minutes, I don't know if that was 2 to 4 minutes.
Did you cover her face at all during that time?
Both hands on the neck. Okay. And so if it's done right, I mean, that can be a matter of seconds before someone on their carotid loses oxygen to their brain and is out, right? Did it seem like it was that quick, or? Okay. Maybe a minute, maybe 2? Okay. Screaming? Okay. All right. Did you see eyes go bloodshot or anything like that? Okay. Okay. And
You
then,
kept talking about the mascara. Did you see mascara on her face?
It looked like it was like, that's what I attributed it to.
Was she crying? Is that why? At what point did she start crying?
When I'm talking about the relationship, about not being compatible. And when she's talking about there's somebody else, that's where she started crying. That's what I thought, it was mascara. I didn't know if it was it.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Was there a pillow or something you wanted to ask about?
Yeah, so was there ever at any time a pillow or the sheet or anything involved in like that on her face specifically? No?
Not like the sheet that you kind of wrapped around to get downstairs. That was it.
The one that was at the site? Okay. And then the other sheets, they were in the trash. At what point did you put those in there?
I think that was,
Obviously after I was in the house.
yeah. I think it was probably the next day or so. I think I don't know. I'm not sure what happened. This is hard to talk about. Like when
Yeah.
strangle somebody, I don't sometimes I guess they use the bathroom. So it was like, I think that's one of the major reasons why, because I think that had happened.
oh, okay.
Okay. You said she was sleeping face down at one point? Was her face in the pillow, or was it turned to the side, or how did that?
Kind of like on the side. She was kind of like a side sleeper, but she was more down than usual.
Okay.
But then she rolled completely onto her back when you started talking to her?
Okay. Now, as hard as that was, if you need to talk about the girls too, okay? All right, thank you. So with the girls, we talked about how they got into the truck with you and were alive. Okay, are you 100% sure that's true? Okay.
Can we go back just a second? You talked about before that Bella walked in, though, to the bedroom. Can you tell us about that before you left?
Yeah, I was just getting the sheet off the bed, and she had walked in, and she had her little pink blanket with her. She's like, what's wrong? What's wrong with mommy?
And where was Shanann at that point?
Yeah, just pretty much on the bed, but she was face down.
Wrapped in the sheet? What'd you say?
I just said, she doesn't feel good. That's when I tried to carry her downstairs.
Shanann? Okay.
Did you carry her like this? Did you drag her? How did you do it?
Attempted to pick her up and take her down, but I lost grip after a little while and just had to pull.
Did Bella see you do that? What was Bella saying?
She started crying a little bit. She's like, what's wrong with mommy?
And what'd you say that time?
I said, she doesn't feel good. She's a smart girl. She didn't know what was going on there.
Mm-hmm. Did she ever touch Shanann? Try and wake her up or anything? No.
She didn't want to see her or ask to see her or anything? And so that initial time, did she see you put Shanann in the truck? So she was kind of following you? Okay. So she followed you and you put Shanann in the truck. Okay. And then what?
Cece wasn't up yet. I think she was just in her room. She was getting ready to get out of her bed. And then they were just walking around the house. I was put my lunchbox and stuff in the truck, and then grabbed the kids and I put them in the bench seat in the back.
Okay. And so Shanann, is she kind of on the floor in the back? And they're just on the bench. Okay. And both alive at that point. Okay. Is there any reason you would feel uncomfortable to tell me that they were not alive at that point? Okay.
Wasn't it a video or anything?
It's hard to see. Okay. And I believe you. I'm just I'm trying to make sure that I'm giving you all the opportunities to be comfortable enough to tell me exactly. Okay.
They were like,
Okay.
trust me, I hear that every day when Bella was talking to me at the site.
Oh, really? What do you mean?
When she said, Daddy, no. When we were driving to the site, she said, Daddy, it smells.
Oh. Okay. So that goes back to maybe Shanann evacuating herself.
I don't know if it was that. You know that smell like a skunk maybe sometimes?
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I got some kind of smell that way, but I don't know what that was from.
And was that maybe outside the truck or was that in?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. What did you guys talk about on the way out?
They were pretty quiet. They just, laid next to each other.
Okay.
Maybe Bella in her lap and Cece in her lap, just back and forth.
Oh, okay. Just trading off like little ones do. Okay. Were they awake?
I think one would kind of fall asleep, the other one, Cece would maybe kind of trade off back and forth.
Were they talking to you?
Just about, just saying, Daddy, it smells.
Oh, okay.
It was early in the morning, they were showing up that early.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you have to? So you didn't have to wake Cece up?
No, there was the noise from trying to get Shanann down the stairs.
Did she kind of fall down the stairs?
No, it was more like trying to get her down and from the steps, maybe her foot hit the next step kind of thing.
Oh.
They're light sleepers.
So then, once you get to the site, tell me what happens.
So I get to that one site and I get Shanann out to that. Just pull her over to the part right off the site there.
Okay.
And the girls are still in the truck.
Okay.
Did they ask you what you were doing, taking mommy out, or?
Yeah, I don't remember what I told them, but they did ask that.
What they say specifically?
It was more like, what are you doing to mommy?
Okay. And then is that when you buried her?
I don't remember if I dug a hole there first but they didn't watch me do that.
Okay. So then hold Shanann out and she's maybe just sitting there on top of the ground?
Yeah, like off to the side.
Off to the side, close to where she ended up?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And then the girls, right? Okay. You mentioned Bella was first. Cece was first, okay. Where exactly was she when it happened?
In the back seat.
Okay, was she just right next to Bella?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so, so once again, was it a hand over her face? Was it?
It was a blanket over and my hand.
And then your hand, okay. And then, so that just stopped her from breathing type thing? Okay, did she struggle at all?
I don't think so, but I was blocking her face and my hand was right here.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
You had one hand here and one hand over her mouth?
And we're just pushing her against the back of the seat type thing? Okay. What was Bella doing?
She was sitting there next to her. She didn't know what was going on.
Okay. Could she see you? Okay. And then, did that take a minute or two?
Didn't feel like nothing. I had no like concept of time at this
Okay.
point.
Okay. Tell me about what you were thinking.
I wasn't. If I was thinking, it's what would happen.
Yeah.
Or any partial hint of what I feel for those girls and what I feel for my wife, but none of this would have happened. So I wasn't thinking.
Okay. So she's in the back seat. Okay. And then once she's gone, then is it Bella next, or did you pull Cece out?
I pulled CC out.
Okay, so once Cece's gone, Bella's still there in the car alive, and then you pulled Cece out. What'd you do with her?
And I think
Okay. So she went into the tank, and Bella was still in the back of the truck alive. Okay. With regard to that tank, did you bring up Cece, put her down, open the hatch,
brought her up, opened the hatch.
and then put her in? Okay. When we talked the very first time we met, when we were talking about this, it was a matter of just lowering her down. Okay, and so she went in feet first. Okay. Was she able to fit pretty well? Was it snug?
I think so.
Okay. Did you have to like move her around a little bit and get her in there?
I think so.
Okay. All
But
right.
no, I didn't have to like, hit her like,
Okay.
something like that.
It's not like you stomped her in?
No.
Okay. And then close the hatch?
Yes.
Okay. And then went down to Bella. Tell me what happened there.
She said what happened to Cece. Or she asked if it was the same thing, the exact same thing that happened to me as Cece.
Did she ask you that? Okay. So Bella's pretty smart. How did she sound when she asked you that, Chris?
She had that soft voice she always had.
Yeah. And what exactly did she say?
She said exactly the same thing that happened to me as Cece. And then I said, I don't even remember what I said.
Okay.
I don't know if I just said yes like a horrible person, or if I just put that blanket over her too and did the same thing.
Same blanket, same way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She said, no, Daddy. And that's the last thing she said.
Did she say no daddy like please no daddy type thing? Did she say saying don't do it?
And she said, no, Daddy.
Okay. Same way, hand on neck, hand over mouth, or hand over blanket, which is over mouth. Okay. Did that take a couple minutes?
Feel like it.
Okay. Then what?
I just know she had a couple spots like over her eye or something, and I picked her up. And same thing.
And we talked a little bit earlier today about it. You don't remember why a different tank? Okay. And there was no reason?
No, they're both the same tanks. I mean, they're just like I don't know why I did two different things.
Okay. There's one, I never got up there. Does one catwalk lead to both?
Oil can go into either tank.
Okay. But if you go up one set of ladders, does that eventually
Yes,
indicate to both?
It's one catwalk.
Okay. Now, Bella was a little bit bigger. Was she harder to get in?
It felt like a little bit.
Okay. And so was it a matter of just kind of maneuvering her? All right. So then they're both in there. Is there any reason to think they were alive? For sure. Okay. So once that's done, then what?
Go over to Shanann, clear away some weeds and dig a hole.
Okay. Did you have a shovel?
Yeah, we have a shovel, a rake, and a weed whacker as part of our tools.
With that rake, if I remember right, it was
Part of it was sitting there because it was broken.
Oh, did it break as you were digging or something?
Now when I was like smoothing the ground over.
On this day, it broke when you were doing that. Okay. Was that after you were all done? And it seemed as though maybe the first people that got there saw it. Was it stuck in the ground?
I guess it was like not like standing up, but it was like laying down.
Oh, okay. Were you planning on coming back?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think so.
At this point, then, this is just before then. In a couple of hours, you would make it back home to see Officer Conrad. Okay. And so once she's buried, then
That's when people start showing up, I believe.
did you notice, was she cut or broken or bleeding in any way?
No, I mean, I know like the bloodshot eyes you were talking about. I noticed that at that point.
Okay.
Other than that, no.
Had she partially given birth?
No.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember. Remember, she had a shirt and I think blue underwear on.
Okay. And so at that point, she was, okay. Thank you. I know that wasn't easy.
Can you tell us about, obviously you know when the district attorney got up and talked about Bella's injuries and stuff,
I didn't want to hear about that.
right? Can you tell us about that?
As far as like her biting her tongue,
And ripping her frenulum, which is that connective skin from your lip to your gum, it was gone. Her gums had it looked like a hole in them and the pathologist said it was from her obviously struggling to get away.
I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
Could it be that that's what happened?
So like, I didn't put my hand like over her, like that. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, it would have been just downward pressure on her, this area.
I didn't see any of that when I picked it back up. Like was it like her lip was like missing or something? Or?
No, see this skin that
Uh-huh.
connects her?
Yeah.
That was ripped. Like, it was gone. So it kind of made like a hole in her gum.
I'm just thinking maybe it's like, maybe like if her her head was like twisting back and forth, could that have done that?
Yeah.
If I had a blanket open, I don't know, like,
Did you feel her doing that thrashing? Or trying to get away?
I
or-
felt her head moving back and forth,
You did.
but I didn't know that happened.
Could you tell if she was trying to yell or say anything or?
The only thing was Daddy no, and then like some grunt here and there, kind of like trying to breathe.
During that time, do you remember getting phone calls from Nicole Atkinson?
After, I think, before she got to my house or after?
Just any time during that morning?
I think I didn't get one until I saw her on my doorbell camera.
And that was, what, 10 o'clock?
Yeah, it was right around there.
Okay. And so at that time, had everything been done out at 3319?
Yeah, I was at a different site at a pumping unit.
Okay. So you went from there when it was all done. So the girls are in the oil, Shanann's in the ground, and maybe a little bit of cleanup. Was there any questions we had about the sheets or any garbage cans or garbage sacks?
No, I think he
Okay.
answered those already.
All right. So then you went from that site to another site to work?
Yeah, because at that Survey 319, there was a little spill. That's where everybody showed up there, because that spill that was there. We're trying to figure out what happened.
Oh,
While you're on that subject, we back up. The night before, you had some text messaging about going out there.
Mhm.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that was, I think, Friday that we had figured out there was a spill out there from like his old site. It's set up a little different. So what had happened was there was a downcomer, and then there's a sidecomer going into those oil tanks, and one of the downcomers is tied into a back pressure line that split, and every time it was dumping oil, it was split underground, and the oil was coming up
Okay.
out of the ground. And we decided just to go out there on Monday because it was Friday, and he had like switched it out, or either he shut it in or he switched lines, or he covered it up and see if it was going to come back or not.
Okay. And then just more specifically, you talked, or you text about how you would go out there and take
Yeah, I was
care of
going to
it.
take care of it for him because I've gone out there plenty of times.
Okay.
So I used, when another guy was out there, as far as another foreman, he showed me around out there like a year or so ago, and I just got familiar with the place, and I just whaled him out.
Okay.
And so that was a genuine,
Yeah,
that wasn't
yeah.
a pre-alibi,
No.
that
Because
was,
there was a lot of people that said that you wouldn't normally do that.
I normally help somebody.
No, like a field, your position, not you specifically, but your position doesn't do that kind of stuff.
Well, that's the thing. Like when I was a rover and to a field coordinator, I still tried to do everything I used to do.
Okay.
That's still like I wasn't good at delegating stuff. I just used to just doing stuff on my own, or just like taking care of it for somebody else.
Right.
I wasn't good at the whole like, hey, you go do this, you go do that,
Yeah.
while I sit over here. And,
Well, you see what it looks like to us,
I know.
you know?
It's like,
when it came up, we're
I know.
like
I know.
making plans to be out there, you know, that day.
I know.
but that's not what it was, that was
I
natural.
No,
Okay.
I was just I was gonna help them.
So how long were you there? What time do you think you were done with the girls?
I don't really tell. I mean, I think everybody started showing up there by around 7:45, 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So,
And then you were there, did you say you went to a different site?
yeah, it's like I think it was either the 10:29 or the 6:29 or something like that.
And so how long were you at that site?
The rest of the day until I got called away.
So then that was, you were there for at least a couple hours until you heard Nicole Atkinson on the doorbell.
Yeah.
And then I think there was even more time after that until you started coming home.
Yep.
And you got home at 2 something?
No, it's closer to 1:30
Okay.
around there. Yeah.
So somewhere around, 9 o'clock-ish, all the way till 12:30 or 12 or 1 or something, and then came home.
Yep.
Okay. There was a lot to do about coming home and listening to that Metallica song. Have you heard about that?
Battery.
I've heard of a Metallica song that people have been. Someone sent me lyrics to it called "Battery."
Do you remember doing that?
That was Nikki Kessinger. She liked the song, or she just wanted to know what it meant.
Oh,
So that's
and that's why you looked it up?
Mhm. I just kind of looked at I didn't have the CD with me, so I didn't.
Okay.
I just kind of looked at the words a little bit.
And was that on the way home?
Mhm.
Oh, that was just a different time?
That was a different time.
Okay, and so the media probably got a hold of
coincidence
that.
because it says battery,
Right, okay.
but it's like it's more about like a family coinciding as a battery.
Okay.
Not like hitting somebody.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why did Nikki want to know what it meant? Like, how did that come
I
up?
don't know. It was kind of strange. I mean, she's very into different types of music, and I mean, music I never really thought I'd ever listen to. And like, she got me into a few things there as far as music wise, but like, battery was something that she asked me because I knew Metallica pretty well. She just wanted to know, like, hey, what's the lyrics mean? I just looked it up just to look at all the words together and just put it in my head again, and that was it. We just made something out of nothing. That's why it was strange. I got those lyrics in a letter.
Oh, so now does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, someone sent me the lyrics to it.
yeah.
I think that guy from California.
The one that
Oh,
was
the
18
kid?
at one point.
The
Yeah.
senior?
With regards to then when you get home, you and the officers, saw what they saw. You mentioned that you took the ring off her finger. And then the book, did you throw that in the trash? Okay. There was another book, Body of Evidence. Does that sound familiar?
That you had in your cell.
A body of that Patricia Cornwell.
Maybe. Does that sound right?
Probably.
Did that in Logan County?
Mm-hmm.
What was that about?
That was just one they gave me.
Who gave it to you?
The deputies.
Not your attorneys or?
Oh no, they couldn't give me books.
Oh.
No, any book that I had was given to me by their book cart that they had.
So you didn't ask for that book or?
No, they just kind of give me like, hey, I read some Brad Thor books. He's like a military guy. And Patricia Cornwell, my grandma always read her books and thought it was, I mean, she loved those books. And I'm not sure if that was probably one of the first books, not the first book I read there, but probably the second book I read there. But it was like they gave me, here's 4 books, choose.
What other book did you read? Do you remember?
The first book they gave me when I was in Suicide Watch was, I don't know why, but Murder at Something. And I was like, I looked at him and was like, that's the one we got. I'm like, okay. But,
They handed you that
Mhm.
book by itself, no other choices?
now the next book I got, another guy that was, I guess they're overcrowded there, a guy was sleeping on a cot outside my door. He's like, here, try this one. It was one that was based like in the 1800s. It's more of like a situational book, like a time period book. So that one's a little more
Yeah.
calm. But that one, that was the first book they gave me.
You don't remember what it was called? Murder at Something?
We were at the Truman Center.
Truman Center?
Yeah, I think it was, remember at the Kennedy Center. I think it was written by Margaret Truman.
Did you read it?
Mm-hmm.
Was it good?
It was decent. I haven't read a book in a long time, so it was different. But like some of the books they gave you, like when you're in the hold, I know you're not allowed to have books in there besides the Bible, but the counselors there let me have a couple books, and they just like, here's so much to choose from. This ones they had. I told them like mystery books or something like that, and that's the ones.
It's kind of crazy they're giving them like murder books, murder mystery books.
You hope that it wasn't some sort of
Yeah.
insult or, you know, you can only hope. Okay. What do you think of yourself now?
I don't. Back when all this happened, when I was in Will County and everything, definitely didn't feel like myself anymore. Like when my attorneys would talk to me and talk to some of my friends and like some of the stuff they would say, like they would say good things, but I'm just thinking to myself, how could anybody even say those things about me now, being what happened? It's like people that I knew and that I never talked to again, that like maybe I was like the roommate like back in the day or like went to school with or something like that. Now they're just gonna say that's it's like Chris Watts, that's a guy I went to high school, that's the guy like he did all this horrible stuff to his family. And now it's like I know I shouldn't really take to heart what other people think about me so much. It's just a matter of like what God thinks about me, what He thinks, what His opinion is, not anybody else's. Because everybody's gonna have their opinion about everybody. Like before I got in trouble, I was always the guy. Hey, look, they judge somebody on TV. Like that guy that's no orange junction, that guy that's that killed that guy that raped somebody. That guy's horrible. Now and it's like. Now, like, when we come out at like 6 o'clock at night and there's something on the news, like, I try not to even pay attention to it. It's like, I don't want to be in that position where I'm judging somebody else. Because that's, what people were doing to me. And I don't want to be that person anymore. But I just hope that I can, step back and kind of look at everything that I've done in my life. And then, like, up to that point, and just, like, I did some good things, but no matter of the most important thing, I screwed up the worst. I just hope I can at least maybe help somebody and however much time I have left.
Was it your intent the whole time you were taking the girls out there that you were going to do that to them? Honestly?
It's like when I got there, I didn't think it was gonna, like you talking about the tanks or just.
Yeah, like, well, just.
Thought process and all this, none of this makes sense. That's why I know you guys keep asking these questions, because it doesn't make sense to me.
But I guess, like, did you could have done it before you guys left
I don't.
and not had him, alive in the back seat. They could have been with Shanann in the back seat and
I
stuff.
didn't think about anything really, like as far as like how everything was gonna happen. I don't know like why it happened. like why I left everything out there in the field and why like all this stuff. Like just, none of this makes sense at all.
But to Tammy's point, did you think that they might be coming back, or did you know they wouldn't be coming back?
No, it's. I mean, the whole trip out there. I mean, it was like I was on. Like I wasn't thinking. It was like. It's like in my mind right now, I'm thinking back. I'm like, I'm hoping that I wasn't like. That I wasn't coherent enough to make that decision to where I knew I was going to kill my girls. I'm just hoping that, you know, like no father would ever want to do anything to hurt his blood and flesh, but I did that, and I just don't understand how it happened. So, I mean, I even read books that say, you know, like no dad would ever do anything to hurt his children, and this happened. So I always think to myself, like, was I even a dad at one point? I don't know. But it's just gonna take a long time to guilt and everything to get just the.
Have you asked for forgiveness from God?
It just takes a long time for me to forgive myself. And that's one thing that's not there. I just hope that they can one day forgive me too. Stay with
And I
it.
think you said earlier that you were so angry at Shanann or whatever that you were gonna, you know, anyone in your path of destruction or whatever was gonna get it. Basically, kind of is what you kind of made it sound like. I'm not saying that exactly right, but why were you so angry at Shanann?
I don't know if it was just because of separating me and my family, pretty much. Because, I mean, it happened at the wedding. Like, that's the reason they didn't come to the wedding. I mean, I blew up at my family to a point where I said some horrible things to them back in 2012 that and I pretty much told my family that, I don't need them anymore because I said, I cussed my mom out. I did all this kind of stuff. I never thought, and I don't know if it was just like Shanann coached me on to do it, or if it was just like rage that was like I'd never seen before. And then I don't know if it was just everything that happened in July, but I can't see my kids, and I'm not sure if they're ever going to go see them again. I don't know. And it was just like, I don't know if that had something to do with it, that something inside of me just triggered it, and then just like all that pins up from the wedding and everything, just like, it's like a long fuse that finally just went to its end.
What happened in 2012?
There was my mom and Shanann, just like from when I proposed to her, it was at the beach, and from then on, it was just like she always went up to Shanann and was like, I didn't need a ring like that when I was your age. I didn't need all these fancy things when I was your age. And just kind of kept boiling over, and they never agreed on anything. It was just like, we didn't really need their help to do anything. We just we'll just pay for it ourselves and all that kind of stuff. And, it was just back and forth. And I think maybe my mom just never thought she was good enough. She always thought she was hiding something from me. So,
She always thought Shanann was hiding something? Like what?
I don't know, stuff from her past, or I don't know.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So there's conflict at a barbecue when all the families got together. And the first, maybe a barbecue that Shanann put together for everybody to get to meet each other. Two families, if you call that. Like when you first started dating.
Oh. I remember we did have something like that, but I didn't remember any kind of arguments at any place like that. I know when I proposed to her, Shanann had her family come down to the beach too. They stayed at a separate house. But as as far as like a barbecue or anything, I don't remember one that was like that.
Way before then.
Yeah. I remember the time when I asked Frank to, if it was okay if I had asked Shannon to marry her. I remember that little get together. I don't think.
So then what was the bulk at the wedding about?
It was just my mom and pretty much my sister just didn't like her.
Oh,
They just thought, you know, that that Shannon had taken me away from them and moved me out to Colorado.
oh,
Because we were in Colorado when we flew back to get married.
oh, okay.
Because we went to Colorado for Thanksgiving to visit some friends, and we decided to move out there like a couple months later.
Okay.
So that was like April. I moved out there April 2012, and we got married in November 2012 in North Carolina. So they always thought I was just taking, and she took me away out there. And
Was
then
there something with invitations or something? Your sister was supposed to send invitations. or-
Yeah, there was. Okay, now you're bringing some memories back. There's something to do with that, and then my sister wanted, you know, her kids. Oh, my sister wanted her kids as like the ring bearer and like something else, ring bearer and flower girl. And then Shannon, like, you know, she told her no, or wait, either Shannon told her no or Jamie backed out because of something else, and then it just like all blew up.
And is that pretty close to the wedding?
Yes. Yeah, that was within a couple weeks.
Did they go to the wedding, your family?
My grandma did.
But your parents and your sister did not go.
Ronnie wasn't there either?
No. Nobody was there. It was my grandma was there, and then like the dance when like, you know, the groom dances with his mom, like I danced with Mark's mom and my grandmother.
It's sad, isn't it? I mean, it all comes from a place of love, you know, them loving you and not wanting to get stolen. And
It was a great day. I mean, everybody was really happy. I mean, it's always just rang in the back of my head. They were never there, and every time they look at pictures, it's just like, oh, where's they're not there. I never knew if they actually were going to come anyways, but as far as like, you know, sometimes they'll just like, all right, we're just going to go just to be there, but they never knew if that was the case.
And so then when Tammy was asking, why were you so mad at Shanann? Was part of it just this whole family strife?
That's the only thing I can think of right now, because I mean, there's no other reason really to be mad at her. 'Cause, I mean, we took care of each other our whole 8 years. It was just like a good relationship. I mean, it's just like, if I never met Nikki, would I ever have, you know, thought our relationship was bad? I would not.
Interesting.
You know, that's one thing I always thought about. Like, even Nikki asked me, like, if, you know, she said, I don't want you to leave your wife just because of me. I'm just like, what do you mean? She said, well, just if you met me, like, would you have known? I'm like, no. 'Cause I never thought I would have strayed away from her at all. Like, I've never tried to follow anybody, you know?
Right.
Was Shanann checking your phone, or
She always had my phone.
she was checking your phone? So how did you get past that?
I use my work phone.
To text? And you had some secret apps, right?
That was on my personal phone.
Were you using anything else to have contact with her?
No, I just text her with my work phone. And like when Shanann and the kids went to North Carolina, I just used my personal phone. And she just told me like to put pictures in an app, and I just found that calculator. I just put, you know, just searched on the app store like hidden pictures, and this calculator app first popped up.
Like in your iCloud or your whatever isn't linked together, so she would know if you're getting at, you know, downloading apps and stuff like that.
They used to be a long time ago, but when we got different phones, or when our phone contact list would be synced up from the cloud and stuff, I couldn't have, like, she had like tons and tons and tons of like phone contacts. I just couldn't have all that, but it's still kind of linked up at one point. But as far as like, she asked me to get my own iCloud account just to kind of free that up a little bit.
How about your Facebook account? You deleted that at some point. When did you do that? And
I
why?
think it was, so we got back August 7th. Went to work. I think it was probably August 8th. That's when Nikki told me she told her friends about me. And I just figured, they'd probably look me up on Facebook and see that she was pregnant. If Nikki already knew it probably already, but the reason why I did that.
Did you and Nikki ever fight?
We never fought, but like I said, I had to like calm her down a bunch of times.
Yeah, you started to mention that when we were talking to you before about her getting upset about some video or something about being bipolar, or
Well,
what are you talking about?
I think either my dad told me about that or John Walsh told me about, like, she made a couple videos like when she was just like, talking to herself, saying that she was bipolar or something like that. But a lot of the things was like, when she realized that, okay, like, she's the other person in the relationship, that, I'd always put my wife first over her, and that's what kind of made her take a step back a few times, and then like I had to kind of like calm her down.
Tell me about those times. What'd that look like?
So the first one was probably around July 4th when I had to leave her house, because she wanted to kind of spend most of the day together before she went to like a baseball game or something. And like when I had to leave, it kind of just made her like kind of take a step back and wonder what she was doing. And I just told her like, hey, just because of what's going, like, just because I had to leave doesn't mean like you have to just take a step. I was like comforting her at some point. I don't even know why I was doing it. Maybe I knew I was too far gone at that point, but it was.
Because this is Shanann's pissed. She's called you 10 times. You were sleeping because you
Yeah.
had your day off.
Yeah.
And then you go outside to talk to her on the phone and then tell Nikki that you need to go home just in case she calls back and
Yeah.
all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what did she say to you, Nikki?
She was in the shower and she said okay, and then that's like when I talked about like calm her down. It's she's on the phone. So-
And was she like, we're breaking up, like we're not gonna, I
No,
can't
no,
do this?
no. She
or-
said like she didn't want to, like she didn't think it was safe or it was good for us to see each other anymore that day, like the rest of that day, just because of all that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then she asked me to come over like later on after she got back from her baseball game.
And so you did that?
Mm-hmm.
So what was the second one like?
It was basically about the same thing. She was, I didn't really know it at one point, but I guess she had set up a couple dates with like some eHarmony app or something, and they never showed up. And she'd already made plans with me, and
Wait, what do you mean? She set up dates when she had plans with you?
Yeah,
Why would she do that?
I guess she kind of figured out they weren't going to show up. She went, I guess I guess when she went to the baseball game, they never showed up, and there was another one, and never showed up either.
So she's actively dating other people while you
I
guys are
didn't know
together?
it until like a couple weeks later.
How did you find out?
She told me.
What'd she say?
It was one conversation where I actually kind of fell asleep on the couch, and then like she had told me like, I'm not sure why she even told me about it, but it was very random, and she could tell that it kind of like took me back a little bit because I figured she would have told me that if she was actively still like looking around. I mean, she didn't have to tell me, but I figured she
Do you think she
would
told you though so that it would hurry you up and
make a decision.
you're making a decision?
It might have been, but she never had anybody that's actually tried to like fix things as far as like hey, like I like where we're at as far as like the relationship goes, and actually like I did stuff for her around the house, around her little apartment, and like nobody's ever done that, and she just thought it was different. So,
What about our male friend? Where does he stand with her? What's his name?
Jim,
Jim. Thank you.
he worked in the oil field, North Dakota, I believe. And I guess he's been a friend of hers for a long time, and it's kind of like a shoulder to cry on. There's always somebody that's always been around for her. And I guess he's had a couple girlfriends, and just I guess he's hadn't had much luck, I guess, in that department as far as like keeping girlfriends, and just him and Nikki have always been good friends.
platonic friends?
That's
as far as you know.
as much as I knew.
Yeah.
But I think they just been friends for a long time, especially up in Oilfield, North Dakota, or whatever he's working now. I think either Wyoming, they go all over the place.
When Sandy and Frank lived in the house for 15 months, what was that like?
It was, it was tough. You want me to wait or
No.
Okay. It was tough, because I mean, you go from just me and Shanann and Bella and Cece to 2 other people and then now 4 dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Onyx he's a terror, 100 pounds of just heat-seeking missile everywhere, and like it was cool having more people around, but like it was stressful.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because with Shanann, like having 2 dominant personalities in the house, with her mom there, it was kind of like what her mom would tell her kind of how to raise the kids sometimes, or like, do this, do that, like whenever they were sick, she was like, all right, rub peroxide on their feet, they'll be fine. Just like, what? Okay. And like I wouldn't do it, and Sandy was like, just do that, trust me, it's okay. But like it's just like little things like that, and it was like a clash every day.
Yeah.
It's kind of like every time I got home, I didn't know if Shanann was pissed or if she was okay. Because when they first got there, they didn't have a job yet, and so they were just around all the time. But then, like once they got jobs and stuff, like I think it was a little better for Shanann because they weren't around the house all day. But it was definitely stressful, just vacuuming like every other day,
Yeah.
and just like cooking was great. That was awesome. But
She's a good cook.
I was always like, because they were down in the basement, so I was always really trying to keep the girls upstairs while they were sleeping, so they're running around downstairs, and I didn't want them to wake up. And I know Frank always told me that waking up Sandy early is not good, so it was just just kind of like walking on eggshells a lot.
Yeah. It was stressful.
Yeah.
You think that stressed your marriage with the time, or?
I mean, it was 16 months. It was 15,
16 months. Yeah.
It was a long time. I mean, it was great around the holiday times because they were already there, and like all that was great. And
Sure.
yeah, it definitely we never really had much alone time.
Yeah.
You always had to kind of plan it out. So
Yeah. What was their purpose for living out there?
they just wanted to be closer to the kids
Okay.
because they're we FaceTime a lot, but it's not the same of like
All right.
with 2 kids. It's hard to fly back and forth. I mean, when they went back to North Carolina this past time, it was the first time Cece's been there. She was 3.
No.
First time her brother ever met her.
So were they trying to move to Colorado permanently, or they just?
They were thinking about it at that point in time,
Okay.
but Frank would have stayed. He didn't want to leave. Sandy wanted to leave.
She wanted to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a matter of like they knew their house wasn't being taken care of, and they wanted to go back and because they had put their house up for sale for a little while, but never bought.
What about your financial stresses?
Yeah, the bankruptcy was something I never thought was going to happen. I think that was back in like 2015, 2016, somewhere around there. But I never thought that was going to happen. And I never thought, a lot of it was from the wedding because they just put it all on credit cards. And so it was just, and then the doctor bills from like, endoscopies and just like, girls seemed like they were sick like every month. It seemed like some type of ear infection, which to figure out was just like put the tubes in their ears and stuff. There was like different operations here, a couple overnight stays in the hospital for breathing and stuff like that. So it was just it all mounted up. I mean, I never thought it was that far gone, but
Was any of that from Shannon's neck surgery, or were those bills pretty well paid up?
well, I think the bankruptcy never touched the medical part of it because you have to be like specify the medical part of it, medical bankruptcy, and then there's like regular bankruptcy.
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
bankruptcy ever touches like student loans or medical stuff. You have to like be specific with that.
Okay.
But I think it just took away like a lot of the furniture that we had bought, and then a couple other things inside the house. To kind of alleviate a lot of the, it took, we had to make the house payment by phone every month, and I had to listen to the bankruptcy spiel like every time, and it's just like, I didn't know how long it was going to take. But apparently it was, once you're in bankruptcy, it's pretty much you never get out of it.
Yeah.
I think it felt like.
But weren't you guys behind on your mortgage? Even when I
like
talked to you?
earlier in like I think December 2017, and then January, February, March 2018. That's when I took we took the 401k out, the loan out to pay for that.
How was it that you were spending so much money? What were you being spent?
Just, kids and just other bills that we had, and I knew the car was getting paid for by the bell. But, I never really asked to see. I didn't even have access to the bank account through my phone.
Oh,
So I never really asked to see what it looked like how far. But I just know she'd call me and tell me, hey, can you pay the mortgage today? I'm like, yeah, cool. And that's from my little 4-wheeler incident where I sold it without actually paying it off yet, and she thought no, you're never touching the accounts ever. So I'm like, okay, that's cool with me. But I never saw the account or what was in there. I just hey, there's when I worked at Longmont Ford, I got my check, I just brought it there.
Yeah.
So,
There was a hair care company, I think it's called Monat. Does that ring a bell? You know anything about that?
Mhm.
Like maybe hair dye. I don't know. Looks like a. Do you know if she did an auto order through that company? Had stuff delivered for hair, any kind of hair care product or hair care dye?
not something. She had little. There was something little gift packs she had delivered once every month or once every 2 months. Had a different array of different products in it.
Don't remember where it's from. Okay.
So we said Monet.
Monat, M-O-N-A-T.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Right, well,
Okay. There was an order that was made, $251. That's why I asked if it was an auto order type
it
thing.
might have been an auto order.
Yeah,
But
that's it, right?
It might have been something that I know that Nicole Atkinson, she's into all that stuff. Maybe Shanann got her. Maybe Shanann got her something, or maybe it was something she recommended.
Okay. How about the HOA thing? What happened there?
She was mailing to the wrong address.
Oh,
They had
no.
changed her address, and she'd mailed to the wrong address for a year. And then we got a letter in the mail where we were getting sued over it. We had to pay our HOAs for a year. So we had to pay double for either a whole year or a couple months. That sucked.
What happened to all the money that she sent to the wrong address?
Don't know. I don't know. They said they wouldn't credit it or anything. I'm not even sure what the address was. She said it was just something that she didn't see. I was like, well, I wasn't gonna harp her about it because she did so much. So I was like, I'm not gonna say what the heck are you doing? No,
Sure.
don't need that to go up. So. I know she felt bad enough.
So Chris, what do you think we could have done better? What could have made you tell us the truth that night? What did you need to hear from us that you didn't?
I'm not sure what really goes to people's minds when they're in an interrogation room. When I was in there with you and Graham, I was just nervous. I knew I had done something wrong, and I knew you probably already knew or were going to find out. And it's just I've watched enough, TV shows to kind of see okay, what's going to happen next type thing. Never knew if it was actually right. But I think it's just the horror of knowing what you did and trying to tell somebody else what you did. That's what kept me from doing it, because I didn't even want to admit to myself that I had done anything. 'Cause I knew what I had done. I knew how bad and horrific it was. I knew how bad I was going to hurt other people. I just couldn't even admit to myself that I had done it. Because I couldn't even tell my attorneys I did it until like 2 weeks later.
So were you trying to save us from the horror of
No,
it, or
it was
what do
just
you
a matter
think?
of I couldn't admit to myself, and how could I admit it to you?
So do you think any amount of us asking you things different ways would have helped, or do you think anything would have helped?
I think if maybe you didn't ask about if Shanann hurt the kids, if you would ask the other, if something in that, a different order of question, maybe it would have came out a different way. Because that's the only reason I went with that story, is because that was,
Well, you weren't giving us anything
I know,
else.
I know.
That was the problem.
know.
But so if you think if we would have said, what do you think?
you would have said, I think you'd have probably had to, if the video didn't show them in the truck, you probably had to have lied and just said, we saw the kids in the truck. I mean, I hate to say you would have to, lied to get me to say what you wanted me to say, but it might have been that.
That we saw the kids in the truck?
When we were talking, there was a point where you just said, "Can I talk to my dad?" Did you just want to tell him first?
I just wanted to, tell him that, that I loved him and that it's probably the last time you're going to see me again, as far as, outside of a cell, pretty much.
You looking forward to him coming?
Yeah, because I'm just talking on the phone, it's just totally different when you see him,
Yeah.
see a face, It's like when we got on that little video conference in Love County, it was all I could do, just not to just break down on that phone. So it'd be good to see them
What do you get to do when they're here?
just like this.
Like in a room like this with a
If
table?
there's a
or-
visiting center, like down in my unit, and I don't know what it looks like, but I know they said it's like tables, and it's pretty much they set up a time and you get a couple hours.
That'd
Just,
be good.
yeah, just in that little center, and I'm not sure what else is in there, but I just know there's tables. I think there's like vending machines and stuff like that. But it'd be good to see them, and fortunately they can't bring their phones in or anything, so I was hoping they could maybe show me a video or two, but I don't have for a picture. But they pretty much only let you come in with your ID. That's it.
Can they mail you still photos or anything like that?
Yep, they can
Yeah.
do the still photo. This is sometimes they try to play a video over the phone for me, and it's like, it's really like fuzzy and crackles a lot, so I really can't hear anything.
Do you have any other questions for us, or do you ever wonder, I wonder why they did this, or I wonder why the investigation went this way, or?
I think the first time I was brought in, I think it was like the 14th, I believe, when I met you that night. I mean, you told me there was a bunch of other people coming in for statements. Was that true?
Yeah,
Yeah.
There was a couple people.
Okay.
yeah.
There were a lot.
There were a lot, actually, yeah.
Okay. 'Cause I
We had a
think-
whole board worth of people listed
okay.
and agents out.
Okay.
They didn't get the attention you got that night, but
Yeah, I just wish none of this had ever happened, honestly. It was just like you guys could have never had to come to us, and you guys never had to meet me or anything like that. None of it ever felt real. Especially like when they put me in that suicide watch cell, and last thing that one of those guys said was like, "Good luck," and just slammed the door, and I just kind of knew from then on that was it.
The deputy said that?
One of the guys in one of, like, they call them the SOG guys, Special Operations Group in the Will County Jail.
Yeah.
That was it. Next morning, like when I got out to take a shower, I saw the newspaper and there was this big piece cut out of it. Just know what that was about, and I just kind of saw like my last name around, like, oh, and it begins.
if we came back to talk to you someday, would you be inclined to talk to us again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, today just took me off guard. I had no idea.
Yeah.
We didn't really want to tell you we were coming just
Oh.
because we didn't want you to have anxiety about us coming.
I would have had anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we figured the blitz attack was probably the best course
It's
today.
like the first time we met.
Right. Oh, you knew when you were meeting me.
I just did, yeah. You just don't have all your props here today.
That's right. It's our props, man. Those it's legit.
Sophisticated equipment.
It is.
Right?
That's right. Sophisticated instrument.
I don't know that that's going to happen. We might not ever see each other again. But
I didn't think we would, honestly.
your experience is definitely interesting. You yourself are definitely interesting. We see things in you that we didn't expect to, and we don't see things in you that we expected to see. So it's very interesting to us, and it's. I hope you can take to heart that today was a lot about us learning how to do better, how to talk to people better, how to do investigations better.
I mean, like, I had never talked to a police officer before, or like FBI, CBI, anything like that. So that was all new to me. Like I said, everything that I've ever seen as far as, the authorities has been on TV. So I didn't know like what to expect, especially when I got that interrogation room. It just felt like exactly what it looked like. Just like, you guys poke and prod and then leave. Come back in. It's like, give me time to stew, give me time to think, and it's just like, it works. It just really I don't know, just drills more questions into your own mind instead of just staying in the room and just asking questions all the time.
Mm-hmm. You liked it when we took breaks? Like, you think that worked on you?
I did.
So you were like watching videos with girls at one point. Do you remember that? Them giggling and laughing and
Like when I was in the interrogation room?
yeah.
I don't remember that.
You don't?
I didn't. I thought you already had my phone at that point.
No, we didn't take your phone towards the end. Towards the end.
Okay.
That was weird for me.
It's like when you put that picture in front of me,
Yeah.
and that's what probably made me do it. Because I didn't have the signal in there, but that's like the videos I had on my phone. It was just like, I wish I had taken those videos out more often before all that had happened, but that definitely got in my head a lot. I don't know where that picture was from, because I'd never seen that picture.
The one we showed you? Really?
And I'd never seen Cece in that dress before.
Really? We talked a lot about that dress.
Yeah.
Is that just
And you were saying-
making it up?
I never saw her in that dress.
You were even telling us when she last wore the dress
About the
and
boots
the
and
boots.
Not that dress.
Those are her favorite winter boots, and she wears
Oh, the
them all
winter
summer.
boots. Winter boots, yeah, but that white dress was a little different. I've never
Oh.
seen that picture.
No, because you talked about buttoning it up. You said, I remember because she just wore it the other day and I had to button up the back and,
It must have been a different dress, but not that one.
huh.
That picture, was that in North Carolina, or was that?
I don't know where the
Pulled
picture
it
came
off of
from.
Facebook, Shannon's Facebook.
So maybe it was while you weren't there or
Might have
something?
been, yeah.
Because you don't recall that, huh?
Because there's a lot of pictures I guess I didn't see when they were in North Carolina that my parents have. Like especially like 4th of July and stuff, and they had like 4th of July dresses on and stuff like that I never saw.
Oh,
Some I had on my phone, but that white dress I never felt like they were like she was going to church or something. I just never saw that white dress. And Bella's little dress that she had. Her little awkward smile there in the back. Yeah, that definitely got in my head when I did that.
when we had the picture out there for you. See, and to us it didn't feel like that because we
I know, I
really
didn't
didn't
show any
elicit
emotion.
any emotion.
I
Yeah.
don't show emotion that much. It's like my dad. It's like we don't show emotion. Like
Were you fighting it down, or were you just not a guy to show it?
most of the time, I'm not a guy to show it. Like I hold it in as much as I can, and in my cell, I cried a lot, obviously, but I'm not really a guy to show it.
Okay.
I don't know. I try to hold it as much as I can.
You were a difficult guy to read, especially at the house that day. That makes total sense now.
I knew it was like, just because I was like in shock or just like disbelief or just like, some people said I looked like I was a heartless, no soul person, soulless person when they did like the TV interviews or something. And I'm just like, I'm just glad I never saw it. I don't even want to know what I looked like, what I sounded like.
But you were obviously feeling it then, you just weren't.
Yeah, just like
showing it.
nothing registered at all. Everything was like just harbored deep down, and then like I think it was just one night when I was in my cell, it just all hit me all at one point. Not the fact that I was in jail, but the fact that like everybody was gone,
Right.
and none of it. I think if it was like like if something happens to your family, like in like an accident, like a car accident, or like something like horrible like that, it registers at one point. But if like you did it, I don't know if like it just doesn't register at one point. It's like in my head, it never registered.
Does it seem real now?
Oh, feels real, like every
It does.
day. Like I see pictures, I just know like where they were at when they were doing that. When I first had like some type of hearing over the phone, and I heard like Frank and Sandy and Frankie and them, they were on the phone, and I forgot what kind of hearing it was. Something about like a probate hearing or something. I knew exactly where they were in the back. I heard the birds chirp. I knew they were on the back deck, and I just like walked back to my cell, just bawled my eyes out because I knew exactly where they were. I knew how many times the girls were back there, and it's just weird how emotions process differently for me than everybody else. Like something like you said, if you lost your kids in the grocery store for 5 seconds, you'd be a mess. And then like, for me, it'd be like, I'd be panicked, but I probably wouldn't cry. I'd be like looking around trying to find them, but it's just like it just processes different for me. I never knew why. Never know why. I don't want to think I'm like a cold-hearted person. It's just a matter of just don't show it. Show the emotion as much as other people do. Even when the girls left North Carolina, her Chance brother, mom and dad were all crying when they left. And it's just kind of like, I never really saw my parents get like that when they left. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's like you're born that way.
Like your family doesn't show emotion like that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, my dad couldn't really speak at the sentencing hearing because he said he was kind of like, he said he was going to lose it. Like lose his emotions, like that really hit me. It's kind of like I never seen him like that,
Like vulnerable?
Like nobody really ever seen me that way either. That's why maybe I just.
Was it ever like you're a sissy if you're like that, or was it just something you just never did?
I never saw my dad cry, so maybe it's just something that was imprinted in my brain that maybe I should never cry. Maybe
Was your mom like a loving mom, like a doting mom, and would give you affection and hugs and kisses? And
oh yeah, she'd always ask me what was going on. Like she said, I was always hard to read. She never knew what was going on.
But did she still try and give you affection even growing up?
Yeah, she always. My sister was always a parent. Like it was always like what was going on. She was always open with me. It was always just closed off, and she always wanted to know what was going on, like how I felt. And I just okay. That's all I give her. Even if something was wrong, I would have probably never said anything because I just deal with it myself. But I don't know if that just growing up that way just kept me that way. Deal with things on your own, but then they build up so much that you can't deal with them, and they take a hold of you. You never thought, in a way, could take hold of you.
Do you think that was a result of just bottling up for so long?
Definitely.
What do you remember your dad saying at sentencing?
I remember there was a scripture. It was a 1 John 1-9, and then a lot of it, their representatives said for him, and my mom said a lot. My mom spoke, but everything my dad had written down, the person said. But, you know, he was talking about going to Little League games and races and stuff like that. And going to being my coach and everything like that. And I was hoping that, you know, I can experience the same type of joy doing that for my girls.
I remember your mom saying she loves you and she always will.
Yep.
That was pretty important to hear.
I think at the end she said, "I forgive you, son."
Yeah, that was big, right?
Yeah.
And your dad, when we came here today, we were just hoping and praying that you would take your dad's advice. Do you remember what he said? I hope if you ever get a chance to talk, you can talk about it.
Okay.
And I think that's what today was, don't you?
Yeah, I think one of those. Didn't expect it to be today.
Yeah.
So DA made some comments during that sentencing hearing about your emotions and having no emotions, or do you remember all that?
Yeah, just like, you know, he lied to us from the start and a couple other things. I believe that's what he was saying.
What do you think? Do you think he was anywhere close to? What do you think of? Basically, what is your opinion of what he said in that?
I mean, it's going to be, you know, taking all his evidence and putting it into the story that he wanted to convey. And like, if you don't know me, that's where you're gonna portray me. Like, if you take everything from August 13th to now, like, that's how people are gonna know. That's how people. There's no other way people are gonna opinionate themselves about me, just by what they see right there.
Right.
They're gonna say, okay, they look at the guy that did the interviews on the 14th, and they see, okay, that guy should be, like, you know, on his hands and knees, like, crying his eyes out, and what's he doing? He's just, like, you know, he's just talking.
Right.
And they're just like, no, I know, and maybe got some information maybe from, like, her friends saying, like, he was cheating on her or something like that. He's a cold person. He was, you know, trying to do this and that. It's like, they don't know me. That's always going to be their opinion about me. Because, like, there was one church service, the only one I've been able to go to in here, and it said, "You're not defined by one moment in your life." And I think that's, like, people are defining me by one moment in my life. They don't know, like, what happened before or what can happen later.
Right.
So I just hope that, you know, hopefully one day people can stop judging everybody. And there's tons of people in here that, you know, I don't even want to know what they did because I don't want to judge them. Like, you know, like, I'm not that person. Like, you know, they know what I did. I'm not going to ask them what they did. You know?
Makes sense. You did show some emotion during that hearing. What part did you think you felt most emotional?
I think I felt when Frank was talking about, you know, I didn't know what to expect when he first started talking, but, you know, he said I was the evil monster, and that rang in me, and he said I tossed him away like garbage, and that hurt. And, you know, when Sandy was talking about that video about when Bella was calling me her hero, and that triggered it a lot there. And then when Frankie was saying, you know, like, I'll never be called uncle again, but you'll never be called a dad again. That really stung. But, you know, when my parents got up there, just hearing my mom and dad talk, you know, just like, they really couldn't look at me, but I just know, like, you know, everything they said, just saying they forgive me and that, you know, I'm still their son, no matter what.
Yep.
I know, like, even my attorneys told me, like, you need to show a little more emotion, because I guess first time I went to the courtroom, I didn't know what to expect. I was still, like, new to everything, just in shock about what was going on, and they said I was just a cold person just looking at me. So when I did the plea and at the sentencing hearing, it just all of it felt just more real than anything.
I remember growing up, my pastor used to tell me, it's better to be 1 foot out of hell facing heaven than 1 foot out of heaven facing hell. So I think that's you. I think you've been to hell and now you're facing the right direction.
I definitely feel like I never knew I could have a relationship with God like I do now, but that's like the amazing grace with all of this, but I just wish nobody had to pay any kind of price for this. I know there's a purpose for everybody. I just hope that I can find mine.
Well, I think you're seeking peace, right? That's good.
It's the only thing you really can do right now is to seek peace and pray that everybody can find it too.
Good.
For everybody that was involved, like for all of you and just all your team and everybody. Friends, anybody that was involved.
Good.
What do you want to happen with this information?
I mean, I know you're probably going to tell Frank and Sandy and Frankie, just kind of give them a little closure, right?
Yeah, I don't know how much I'm going to tell them. Obviously, you know Sandy better than I. She wants to know everything. But I'm going to digest a little bit before I talk to them about it. So I don't think there's any rush on that. And then, but other than that, I have no intention of talking to anybody outside of law enforcement. But what would you like to see happen with it?
I mean, I'd like to tell my parents, like, you know, when they get here, instead of like finding out anywhere else.
Yep.
So I know like they've been bombarded with information from like, you know, from the Amanda girl to the Trent guy to from like people going on Inside Edition saying they knew me or went out with me or had like whatever else with me, and then just like I don't want them to think that it's like other like false information going out there because like people are getting hold of information like where did they get this information from type deal, you know. So,
Would you like to see those people charged?
you know, people take advantage of situations, and you know they gotta honestly they'll have to look into themselves and just figure out why they did it themselves. So I mean, I don't think charging them would help. I think they just need to work out whatever they got going on within themselves. I mean,
Did you ever have a profile on Tinder or anything like that? Any of those dating websites or anything?
no. I just had Facebook, I had Instagram. That was it. I didn't even know what the WhatsApp thing was called. That's when I was like, John,
You'd never heard of that?
no, I was just like, I don't even know what that is, man. This guy's fishing for something. So, just sorry you had to waste your time and go out there and talk to him.
It was a big time waster.
That was a big waste of time.
Yeah. But you would not want to be listed as a victim in that case, as far as him being charged with like false reporting.
I mean, he's whoever's gonna try to get their 5 minutes, 50 minutes of fame, whatever they want to do with this. I mean, that's on them. I mean, if he's willing to do that, then he needs to figure out what's going on with himself before, like, you know, I don't think charging him with something's gonna fix that. So it'd just be a waste of time, I think.
Anything else before we send you away?
Don't be afraid to ask.
How things in Colorado now. I mean, since all this has happened, everything's quiet now. Everything's
Yeah.
cool and
Well, we had another guy murder his fiance, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. So that's made a lot of news too. I'm sure you've probably seen that on the news. No. So-
everything here is based. I think the only thing here was like that Jamie Kloss thing. I don't know if you heard about that.
Oh yes, we were
Right.
just talking about that out front.
But the girl was kidnapped.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
escaped after like 90
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
Insane.
That's crazy.
He'll probably come here. Everybody
Yeah,
comes
they
here.
said he's in some county jail. Is that right?
Yeah,
Is that what she was saying? Barron or something?
Barron,
Yeah, so all I see here is like stuff I try to. It's like everything happened here. So you guys stay the night there. Watch out. Sorry.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Do you mind if I take a picture of you just to show what you look like now? You just look so different then.
I just, like,
It's not gonna go on social media or
Okay.
anything. It's just for like our own records.
okay,
Is that okay?
that's fine.
Were you asking him something while I was? I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, it's like the roads in the background scary enough, you know.
I know. When it's snowing, it's
Mhm.
horrendous.
Reminds me of the days of ice racing, actually.
Of ice racing?
Yeah, but we had spikes on the tires then, so.
Oh.
All right, Chris, we're gonna let you get back to your day.
I'm good.
Want another minute to finish your drink?
Yes, they won't let me take that back. Yeah, I had to shave. They recommended I change my appearance at the RDC, so.
Why is that? Just so people didn't recognize you? No.
Yeah, I just shaved it all off. And that razor, like I said, the razor they have here, it's like it's a single blade. So like I'm
A
like,
safety razor, right?
oh, it's more than said. It's just like it's more safety than actually a razor.
That's why he doesn't shave.
Is it like a sharp rock or?
Right?
Just imagine shaving the same spot for like 5 minutes, and then finally,
Something starts going.
yeah, it starts. It's like I gotta warm it up or something. I don't know.
You'd probably be better just plucking them out on your fingers or something.
That would be more, everything here is for safety. So like,
Yeah.
I think like once I get moved to GP, I could have something different. So
Oh, that makes sense.
'cause most of the guys in my unit can't have razors, so. That's
Well,
it.
that makes you feel better, probably.
Well,
if
they
they're
don't have to
not.
watch me. Other guys, they stand next to them while they shave. So that would be kind of weird.
Oh.
So they have any other jobs, like if, like fleet, would you be able to go work fleet maintenance or anything like that?
If
Or
I
is
got
that-
classed down to like a minimum,
Uh,
or like a low medium. They have guys that like run across the street to like a records building and work over there. I don't know, like they said it takes a while to get classed down from like maximum to medium.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure like if they've keep me here. I don't know if they'd ever take me to Colorado, or I don't know what their plan would be.
right.
I'm not sure if that happens or not.
Yeah. It's all pretty secretive, and then right up to the minute they do it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
You guys gonna do exploring around here?
I don't think so. Everything's covered in snow.
We were-
And it's
We were
freezing.
such wimps when we walked out.
Maybe go rent a snowmobile or two.
And explore the hot tub
Yeah,
at the
right.
hotel.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Same as baseball season, but it's not, so we go to
Yeah.
Brewers play or something.
Well, NASCAR is back in full swing.
I saw the last two laps last night when we came out.
Oh, did you?
And I went to over like 200 NASCAR races growing up, so
Yeah.
I went to one Daytona 500. It was one that Mark Martin almost won. I was hoping he would, but he got passed by Kevin Harvick coming out of turn 4. I was just like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a wreck fest, I heard. So
Yeah, so I heard I didn't get to watch it either, but you went to NASCAR school, didn't you?
Mhm.
Yeah. That was fun.
it was a blast.
Yeah.
It was like my childhood, just reliving it all over again.
Right.
Just seeing race cars with dynos and doing fabrication, welding, all that kind of stuff. It was really cool. Not sure if that school's still over there in Mooresville or not, but I'm guessing it still is.
So do you have to be escorted back? Is that what they do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like the unit I'm in, we all have to have escorts because it's a special management unit.
So guard escorts you everywhere.
Yep.
So what about when you're all playing basketball together? Are there guards watching you?
There's 3 of them in there.
Do you ever get in fights playing basketball?
No, we're just, we're, guarding each other, like blocking everything like that, but everybody's
We're
go
cool
for it.
with each other? Good.
This way.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
There's one right there.
You guys fly back tonight or
Tomorrow.
tomorrow?
Yeah. have flown back tonight, I guess, but I don't know what time the flights are even.
It's probably the only time you ever come.
My brother went
Okay.
to school there, so. But I had never visited him when he lived there, so that was my first time driving through yesterday. It's a cute little town. Actually, this town's cute. Honestly, like the downtown. It's a pretty cute place.
It's just so desolate because it's so cold right now.
I think it was like a couple weeks ago, it was like -50 with the wind chill here.
Oh,
Yeah, they said like the PSU counselor I talked to, she said it hurt to walk in here and breathe.
22.
wow.
I bet.
Yeah, they were saying, like, on the news, like, for people in, like, Chicago and all those places not to take deep breaths because it was, like, freezing their lungs. Yeah.
It was insane. It was like the deep cold from Canada that came through here that just like it froze everything. I mean, it was so cold in ourselves. We were just like going out to eat. We were like just like shaking like that because the heat couldn't keep up with
Yeah,
that.
there's not much you can do.
Plus, this place is old, so like all the windows like were
Oh.
they couldn't insulate it.
Yeah.
The wind was just like just rushing in.
Would you stay here if you could?
I don't really know much about the state or anything about what's going on in here, but like from what I see, I mean, they say it's decent.
Yeah.
They said it's a lot better than going anywhere else.
Yeah, that's generally the word. Is if you hear it's not as bad as other places, that means it's pretty good.
Yeah, so like I'm just hoping and praying that I can help people here and that they'll just keep me around. Maybe they'll make me like a personal care worker or something. Help other inmates, mentor them, because I guess they have a couple guys that are serving a life sentence that have turned into personal care workers or counselors.
Good.
Help other guys when they come in. When I can do that. They don't have like the normal programs you would have, but you know, it's fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like some guys like they want to get like extra degrees and stuff like that. They don't have that here. You have to go to one of the other places.
So if you just said, I want to, do some more education stuff, would you get moved to another place, or is it totally up to them whether you get
It's
to
totally
do
up
that?
to them. Because like I'm not sure how that gets paid for.
Right.
So like I'll just whatever they want me to do, that's what I'm gonna do. If they want me to move back to Colorado, I'll be like, why? Why do I have to move back to Colorado?
Oh, if they told you
Yeah.
that, you would question that?
Well, like after a while, if I was here for a long time and then say, okay, since you leveled down, we'll move you back. I'm like what? But know how that would go.
Are you scared to level down, though?
No, I mean it'd take years for that to happen, but like I don't know how it would be like in Colorado in a DOC there. A PSU counselor, she worked in DOC in Colorado and California. She said Colorado looks like California now.
Really?
She says bad about the gang violence and everything.
I could see that.
Yeah, I can too. Definitely changing. Yeah, I think people in this part of the country are just different overall. It's really, we kind of talked about that earlier. Colorado's not like it used to be. People here just seem to be nice. Regardless.
I think a lot of transplants probably moving into Colorado from other states.
Yeah.
Probably affecting that because no, Dave Colon, he said they're moving to Florida just to get away from Colorado because it's too
Oh, are
much
they?
changed.
Yeah.
It's just so expensive and...
Everything's expensive there. Houses just keep going up and up. For any kind of like a half an acre of land, you're just gonna pay the same amount of money. Here, I think it's a lot cheaper, but the pay is it's much lower, I think, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was doing a little reading on the area, and the median house price up here is like $116,000. I mean, you can't even buy a mailbox in Colorado for that.
No, it's a
No,
PO box
that's
right there.
true.
Yeah.
What a PO box in Colorado, $100,000.
Nuts.
I think I was reading like Pittsburgh, kind of like the same way. It's like it's crazy to think about how much it varies from like state to state, city to city.
Pittsburgh expensive?
No, like
Oh, inexpensive?
yeah, it's like
Oh, yeah.
150,000 per house.
Really?
Like deal. I'm like, geez. But deal with the weather and deal with all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason for that, right?
Like here, I guess you got like April to September. That's your only good months here. The rest of the time you're in your house.
Yeah, I don't think I could handle that. Especially have snowmobiles.
I wouldn't even like that.
Yeah,
It's
you
still
can't do that
cold
every day,
on
You
right?
start using the snowmobile for necessity, that's a problem.
To
Right.
get to the store.
You gotta put a license plate on a
Daily
snowmobile.
commuter.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Kind of walk around Titletown all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Are they coming or?
Yeah, they just literally walked away with another person.
Oh, they did.
They gotta get to the end of the wherever and come back.
Mm. This place is
That's
huge.
big.
It's a long hallway.
So how far is your pod or wherever you're staying from here?
All the way down that side.
All the other way?
Yeah. I think this is like the west side of the building here.
Mm.
I haven't gone much farther than this. Like all my stuff's always on the east side. But they got huge like pods. They'll have like over 100 guys in them. So, but they move like 40 or 50 people out each day.
You have a cellmate, right? Is that what you
No.
said? Oh, you don't have a cellmate?
Nope. When I go to GP, I probably will.
Mhm.
I haven't had one. Most of the cells in my unit are single cell. There's like 3 that are doubled up, but they don't have the overcrowding they have. That issue they had when I first got here.
That's what she was saying, that there was like 400 extra inmates
Yeah.
that they ended up shipping out to different places, so.
Yeah, I never knew what the assessment part of it was as far as like how many people they had coming in and out, but it was like people coming in and out everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So is it like a general supervision type thing like Will County is? Where you have like a big room with the pods on the top, or how is that?
No, it's like you have a sergeant desk at the front of it and then a hallway of like 20 cells. And they
Okay.
just kind of walk back and forth. It's the RDC was like you have like a cul-de-sac of cells, 3 tiers, and then like the perch for the sergeant right here. He can see into everybody's cell just from looking around.
All right.
But this one's like they got to walk up and down. This used to be like a mental hospital or something. They said
Oh,
like back in the day.
okay.
It's definitely old. You can hear those pipes like vibrating around the walls, and it's like, oh god, don't bust.
Is it like exceptionally freezing in here?
Just got cold in the last 20 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It gets
Whew.
depending on which way the wind's blowing, depends on which side, but the building gets cold. It gets cold.
It's pretty chilly.
There was like a 6-foot snowdrift outside my window for a little while. It's finally starting to go down. So when it was like -50.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a little too cold for me.
I mean, we're the ones that chose to come in February, but she's ready for you now.
Oh, okay.
She is.
Oh, good to see you
Good to
guys.
see you too. Take care of yourself,
Thank
okay?
you too. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a safe flight.
Thank
you.